Hello Year 10, it's Mrs Decline at Bristol Brunel Academy, and I'd like to welcome you to the Changing Economic World Unit Week 9. We're really impressed with how well you have been grappling with some of the more challenging aspects of this topic, and we're particularly pleased with some of the work that you have been sending in to your teachers. So keep it up. Just a couple of lessons left to go, and then you'll be getting some individual end of term activities from your teachers. So we're still looking at this focus on strategies to reduce the development gap, and this week we're focusing on some financial aspects. So today we will question how LICs have become indebted to other countries and organisations. We will outline the role of microloans as part of debt relief, and we will evaluate the extent to which debt relief truly helps a country to develop. So, as usual, we need to be confident with a couple of definitions here. So, debt relief, you're going to learn about this within the lesson, and you're going to read about what it is. The simplest way to think of debt relief is that debt, so money owing from one person or organisation or country to another, is either written off or in some way agreed that it doesn't all have to be paid back. Loans, which can often create debt, are movement of money from one individual organisation or country to another. Now, this can be on a very large scale, so global organisations might give large loans to entire countries. The word interest refers to the amount of additional money that has to be paid back. So, for example, if I lend you £1, but with 50% interest, when you pay me back that £1, you've actually got to pay me back £1.50 because I'm charging you for the benefit of borrowing that money. You'll finish today's lesson by looking at something called microfinance loans. Now, these are the same thing, still a loan, still with some interest, but they are small. It could be as low as $30 to an individual who wants to start a market stall. So a microfinance loan is a much smaller loan of money. In today's lesson, you will read this section about loans and what happened with loans during the 1960s, 70s and 80s. You will read this diagram and some of the examples about where loans have been successful, but also where they've been a problem. And this includes, in the bottom section, the lead to debt relief. When you look at microfinance, there are two videos to watch. They're both brief. One is about what microfinance loans are, and the other is talking in a bit more detail about what some of the problems are. This diagram in front of you now, this is a positive multiplier effect diagram. So it talks to you about what a small loan is for and how it then goes on to create a positive situation. Unfortunately, though, it's not always positive, and all of these strategies that we've looked at over the last few weeks, they all have issues. So part of today's lesson at the end is weighing up the different options. So you're going to need to think back to investment and industry, aid, technology and trade or fair trade, and then today's lesson around debt relief and microfinance to try and weigh up how well you think they deal with the problems of poverty and uneven development. Your last activity based on that will be using this diagram here. So you will be posed a question: debt relief and microfinance is the best option for improving development in LICs. Do you agree with this statement? Justify your answer. So the first thing it's worth doing is deciding where on the scale you are when it comes to agreeing or disagreeing with this statement. Be careful, if you put yourself right in the middle, on the fence, not sure, you need to be able to argue that really clearly. In geography, the best thing to do is to be, if you think you're in the middle, choose one direction that you just sit slightly more towards so that you can argue it with a full justification and give a final opinion at the end of your answer. When you do this, you're going to use this document, and it's downloadable as part of the PowerPoint at the bottom of the blog. You're going to use this to plan it out. So plan out what are the positives that you've learned about debt relief and microfinance, and what are the best things and the best examples you've got. Then what you want to do is think about some of the negatives and the problems. At this stage, you want to then give some of the alternative options from previous lessons. Do have a go once you've done the plan at writing your answer as 1 or 2 paragraphs. This is really good practice, and it's hugely helpful for us as your teachers to see how you're getting on. I have included the PowerPoint for this lesson at the bottom of the page, and in addition, those of you who are interested in perhaps some of the debates around loans, around how HICs work with LICs to try and develop them, and these aspects of geography, please do look at the extensions at the bottom of the page in the blue box. There is also something called a GeoFile, which is an article you can read, uploaded at the bottom of the page, and for anyone who is looking for those top grades at GCSE, but also starting to think about taking on this wonderful subject at A-level, those extensions, they are there for you. We hope you are interested and enjoy this lesson in the topic. Next week, you'll be looking at the final strategy, which is whether tourism can be the answer to all of LIC's problems.